So this morning I'm talking to Richard Tan from InfoComm Asia. Richard, you're talking to us from Singapore, where you're not actually in lockdown, are you? You're dealing with it in a different way there.
No, we're not. I for better or for worse, I think we've decided to take a more measured approach of trying to see if we could maintain a lifestyle throughout a country which is more sustainable in the longer term. As a Singaporean, we've been accused on more than one occasion about being a people that tends to be very dogmatic, that we tend to listen to our government a lot and be very obedient citizens. But I think in a time like this, that tends to help.
What does it mean for InfoComm? Are you able to go into the office to work with your team at the moment? Or are you working remotely, some of you, or staggered?
Well, I think in a way we're kind of lucky, Caroline, because that's not changed for us at all. For the last 14 years since I've joined InfoComm, I've restructured our team so that we all work from home. So we've been working from home for the last 14 years. Okay. This has been no change for us.
Yes, but you're already in a really strong position.
Yeah.
And I think as well, because I know you've done an awful lot of work in building up your memberships and your industry contacts across the region in recent years. So presumably you've got all the machinery in place to be able to reach out to your members and the industry and to get the messages across that we can't actually do in person now.
We have a very, very small lean team in Singapore. There are only 9 of us currently. We've actually expanded. But the 9 of us organize 3 shows and more a year. And the reason why we're able to do that is because we have a different approach to organizing our businesses. We work with partners in each of those countries where we have our shows, in China, in Bangkok, and in India. We have an event partner that we work with who are an extension of ourselves, but they are local folks who understand the local markets. I don't think any one of us in our generation has gone through a situation tougher than this. But I have great faith in us humans being resilient, very, very resilient, and especially those of us in the AV industry. I mean, it's always been, the AV industry has always been a small and medium-sized industry. Many of us grew up, building our own businesses, and we know what it's like to have struggled.
Are you getting any feedback from the different regions, such as India, about what people are going through at the moment, how they're all feeling?
We're just starting to get that. We're just starting to get a very small handful, 2, 3 inquiries about whether we have any concerns about the situation in India. We are heartened by the fact that the Indian government has taken very, very tough measures. I think India has the benefit of hindsight. They've had the benefit of looking at not just China, but a whole series of countries that have been that has fallen to this pandemic.
Have you been in close contact with your team in China, and how are they doing at the moment?
They're doing much better now. I think they've gone through a very, very tough time, especially in January and February, when lockdowns were in place in most parts of China. They're a lot better now. Commuting has become a lot easier, although they still have some restrictions put in place to control the amount of commuting between cities, between provinces. And I think that's a smart thing to do. I'm happy to see that these things are still in place. We've rescheduled the show now to October, and that's a good distance away. But still, I think if China doesn't do what it needs to do in order to make sure that the current situation that they have is at least preserved, if not improved, with the right measures in place, then even the postponement of the show might be in danger.
There will always, though, be a need for the trade show in whatever form it takes once we come through this. Do you have any predictions about how they might look going forward?
I think there's so many questions that need to be asked. Once we're ready to look at what life and business and economy is going to be like after the crisis. We need to be looking at how supply chains are going to be organized internationally. Does globalization, the way it works now, work for us?
Right.
So I think all of that will certainly just mean one thing, that much of how we have done business in the last 30, 40, 50 years is going to go under a microscope. Some of that has got to change and will change. And any changes in the landscape, in the business landscape, is going to translate to our exhibitors needing to have more meetings, more opportunities to meet with their customers, to discuss these changes, to discuss how they're going to be conducting business going forward, to discover new ways of doing business, new channels. And I think that's going to bode well for exhibitions at large.
But industry will always need a forum, a place where people can gather and exchange ideas and be creative and have meetings with each other, find new contacts, new business partners. That will always be there.
There's going to be a real desire. In fact, there's going to be a real hunger for that.
Yeah.
I think even now, for us not to be able to meet with each other physically as often as we used to, for me not to be able to have my usual regular lunches with my team, it's really taking its toll. And we can't wait for the day we can actually get back to normal life and have a laugh over a great lunch or dinner. Despite all these restrictions, and we have to take great care in making sure that we protect ourselves and our loved ones. But we must also remember that, we need to take time out to remain sane, to have fun in whatever way we can, in whatever measure we can afford. To still have fun, to still have a laugh every once in a while.
Richard, thank you so much. It's been great to talk to you. And I think we should keep in touch over the next few weeks and we can just sort of update each other on the situation.
Likewise, Caroline. You take good care there, all right? And give my love to the team, to Richard and the rest of the team.
And the same to your team as well. Thank you so much, Richard.
All right, thanks, Caroline.